We recently took an impromptu visit to St. Augustine, Florida. So, of course, we had to bring you a review of where we stayed, which was the Embassy Suites Oceanfront in St. Augustine. We will also show you all the things there is to do around there and why this could be a great weekend destination for you. And if you're new to our channel, 3 Days and Tres Noches brings you honest, to the point information and reviews about the travel destinations that we go to. And usually you're going to find us in a tropical, all-inclusive resort. But no matter where we go, we're going to turn that camera on and bring you an honest review. So let's talk about getting to St. Augustine, Florida, which is in the northeast part of Florida. So we flew in from New Jersey to Jacksonville. So if you are flying to St. Augustine, Jacksonville really is the closest airport. They do have one that's in St. Augustine, but a lot of commercial flights do not fly in there. The Jacksonville airport is about an hour away from St. Augustine, so I do recommend renting a car. However, you can arrange transportation to take you from Jacksonville to St. Augustine, and then once you're at the hotel, you can Uber and taxi wherever you want to go. So, of course, I did some research ahead of time and decided I wanted to take the scenic route down to St. Augustine, which would mean going through Ponte Vedra. Now, when I was doing my research, I thought that the Ponte Vedra Inn and Club would be the perfect place to stop for lunch. They had a really cute restaurant on the beach, and it was kind of like the halfway point. And I thought, too, we could do some filming and show you guys what that looks like as well. However, when we got there, we found out that you had to be members or at least staying there to eat at that restaurant. So we decided just to keep going on the scenic route towards St. Augustine, and I had researched another restaurant called Caps on the Water. So we stopped there for lunch instead, which was right on the way to the hotel. Definitely recommend checking this restaurant out if you are down that way, especially at sunset. They said at that time it's absolutely amazing. The staff and everyone was really wonderful. The Embassy Suites Oceanfront in St. Augustine is obviously not in the downtown area, so that's a more popular place to stay, but we wanted to be right on the ocean. We were immediately impressed with this hotel when we pulled up. The valet staff came right to our car, very attentive, very friendly, and we found out that this hotel is valet only, so you have to valet your car, and it is an additional $35 a day, so just keep that in mind. And they have a great texting system. When you need your car, you just text them, and by the time you get downstairs, your car is there waiting for you. And the check-in process was great as well. Rose was at the front desk, gave us great service, and was able to get us into a room that was ready because we had gotten there a little bit early, around 1 o'clock. So now let's go for the room tour. We just arrived to the Embassy Suites in St. Augustine. It's an oceanfront resort. We're about to look at our room, so I want to show you our room. And let's take a look, see what we have. So we got the Oceanview Suite, and so far you can already tell it's all clean. It's kind of new. I don't know if they just renovated or this is a newer resort, but it's definitely bright and clean. They have a really nice desk space here. Let's take a look at the bathroom. So, very nice. It's, again, updated, nice and clean. Doesn't have the double sinks, but it does have a lot of counter space, which is great. And a ton of towels. Nice standard shower. But everything does seem really clean and nice. I love when a hotel has this type of area, which you have an extra utility sink, so if you want to wash stuff, especially if you're staying here, this is definitely, I think, considered a family resort, so you can wash stuff. It has a coffee machine. We went ahead and got our own snacks and things like that because we knew we might get hungry, so an area for that. An ice machine, but look, they have a full refrigerator. And we purchased this ourselves. Then they have a microwave, which is sometimes unusual in a resort, so that is great. Especially, I know what it's like when you're traveling with kids and you want to be able to heat up food or whatever it is, and a nice coffee machine. A little bit of a small closet, so not a ton of closet space. So we were really impressed with this room. I loved the layout. I love the fact that it had the separate kitchenette, but then over here, it also had a seating area with a pull-out sofa. So if you are a small family in one room, everyone could fit pretty comfortably, I'd have to say. They also did have a TV. The TV was a little bit small, but then it opened out into this deck area, and this was the ocean view room. Now, we were hoping for an oceanfront room, but we waited to upgrade until we got there, and they were completely sold out. So we got the ocean view room instead, and it does open up here to the courtyard where all of the games are for the kids. Now, it never bothered us. The noise never got too much, but just know that that could be an issue. Now, there was some noise, a little bit of noise in between the walls. You could hear kids and babies. Again, this is a family resort. So I did see a few couples here, but I would say mostly it was families. Now, they did have this big deck area as well. The only issue I would say with that is that there really was a little bit of a lack of privacy, because you could actually see your neighbors, as you can see over here, literally right there, you could hear them. So let's talk about how much this room costs. So originally we had just booked a regular room. One night was $278, and I think the next night was $240. We were traveling on New Year's Day. When we got there, we did decide to upgrade. We were hoping for a better deal. We were on the fence whether or not to do it, because the upgrade was $130 per night. So the room, again, was a suite. It was a bigger room that had the sofa and also this ocean view. And it definitely was a beautiful view to wake up to, but I think $130 per night was a pretty hefty upgrade fee for the room. So if you were a family trying to save a little bit money, but you want to stay here, I think a regular room without a view would be fine for you. Now, there are also other fees. Now, I talked about that valet fee, which is $35 per day. So if you have a car, you have to pay that. It's mandatory. And then there's also a resort fee of $22 a day. And I'm going to go over some of the amenities next. I actually think it was pretty reasonable based on what you got, and of course the taxes. And our room ended up being about $500 per night. And compared to some other Florida resorts that we've been to and what we've paid, I would say that it was pretty comparable. And for everything that you got, which again, stay tuned because I'm going to show you all the different things that they have, I think it was pretty worth it. Which leads me to the amenities at this resort. And we were very surprised at how many amenities that they offered for such a small resort. So number one is the beach, which I talked a little bit about already. So you have beach access. It is not a private beach, it is a public beach, but it is a huge beach. So there's plenty of room, and it's literally right there. You just go through a gate and you are on the beach. Now, the other thing that I was impressed with is that it does include 2 beach chairs. They're not lounge chairs, but they are beach chairs. And usually at resorts like this, you have to pay extra for those. The umbrella, if you went into an umbrella, it was $15, and then the extra chairs were $12 each. Now, the pool area, I think, was one downside of this resort. It is pretty small. There's not a ton of seating around it, and there's really not much to do in the pool. So I could see how it might get crowded quickly, how the kids might get bored quickly, especially the older kids. So it is a smaller pool area. They do have a hot tub, however, right there, and they have handicap access into the hot tub as well. Now, for food and drinks, they had some great options as well. So they had a pool bar, which was really nice. They had great service there. You could also order food. And then inside, they had a lobby bar, and they also had a restaurant. Now, 2 perks that I have to talk about that I was surprised that I've never seen at another chain hotel. So one was the breakfast in the morning. I was completely blown away with everything that they had to offer that was included in your stay. So that $22 resort fee covers that. And it's not per person, $22 per room per day. And you get a complete continental breakfast. You get made to order eggs and omelets, which again, I've never seen that. That has been included in your stay at a chain hotel. Now, it does get very, very crowded, especially on the weekends during peak hours. In fact, they have a whole sign in the lobby that tells you the best times to go. So as long as you stay away from those peak hours, you don't have to wait in long lines for the made to order items. But they have like 3 or 4 staff members just working the breakfast and making sure you have everything that you need. So I was very, very impressed with this. And then in the afternoon from 4:30 to 6 every single day, they have a manager's reception. And it includes complimentary cocktails and beer and snacks, which I have never seen at a chain hotel. And the bartenders were great. They were very skilled. They could handle the crowd because obviously offering something like this, it does attract crowds. The vibe was great. So it's just a great way to end your day at the pool or the beach in between dinner. And I also love that they had a ton of seating inside and outside. So it was a little chilly when we were there, so we didn't get to take advantage of that too much. But they had fun little areas with fire features, places where you could gather with your friends and your family. So after the manager's reception is over, we did see a lot of people just hanging out, and they had it decorated really pretty for Christmas as well. So I really love that about this hotel. Now they have a restaurant on site as well. We did not eat there. In fact, I tend to stay away from chain hotel restaurants. One is usually they're overpriced and sometimes they're not that great. And really there's so many options in the area that we wanted to try, but they do have that option if you want. And they also have a Starbucks on site. So even though they have that complimentary coffee, if you want that espresso or specialty drink, they have this option as well. And they also had a cute shop right there in the lobby if you wanted to do some shopping or pick up a souvenir. Maybe you forgot something, you could do that as well. I think another big draw of this resort is that it is pet friendly. So there were a ton of little dogs there that were traveling with families. So if you like to travel with your pet, that's an advantage as well. And like I mentioned a few times, it really is a family-friendly hotel. So they had that whole courtyard with games for the kids. They had organized games. They even had yoga in the morning for the adults. I think you can rent bikes. So just on the property alone, there really was a lot to do. There's also so much to do right around this resort, including the historic downtown, which is the biggest attraction in St. Augustine. So now let's go off the resort. I'll show you some things to do. And again, we were only there for 2 days, so we didn't get to do nearly as much as the city has to offer, but we did go to the historic downtown area both at night and during the day. So the first night we decided to Uber into the downtown area. It was New Year's, wanted to have a couple drinks, wanted to kind of see what the bar scene was like later. And even though they had a ton of restaurants in the downtown area directly, after reading and doing some research, I decided to try the ice plant. It just seemed like a really cool concept. They turned an ice plant into a restaurant. So just wanted to see what the vibe was like. And I'm really glad that we did. I would say it's more of a cocktail place. So they do have tapas, but not real extensive menu necessarily for dinner. But the cocktails were really great. Again, the vibe was really cool. And then it's just a short walk into the downtown area. They kind of directed us where to go. I would say maybe 5 minutes. You just go down the street and take a right, and you're heading into that downtown area. And this was actually the perfect time of year to see the downtown at night because they still had their light display up from the holidays. So we enjoyed that for a little bit before making our way to St. George's Street. And we were hoping to try the famous pizza time, but the lines were way too long. So we just went to a few of the local bars right there on St. George's Street before heading home for the evening. Now the next day we had planned on exploring the downtown area more, doing some filming and trying pizza time. But when we got there, it was mobbed. So it was the day after New Year's, and I think a lot of people had off, so everyone was thinking the same. Now, we were able to get a parking spot, surprisingly, and parking was free, but just even walking on the streets were congested. So we couldn't even get anywhere near pizza time. All of the other restaurants had hour-plus long waits. We walked around a little bit, getting almost frustrated, thinking there was no place that we were going to be able to eat, but then we found this great little place called Pizza Alley. So if you're in the area and you're wanting the pizza time and you can't get in, try this place because the pizza was really good. The food was great. The service was amazing. We met some really cool people and just had a really good time there. Now, afterwards, we were hoping to take a trolley tour, but all the tickets were sold out. So we walked over to El Castillo, filmed a little bit there. And in fact, you know what? I'm going to do a whole separate video about things to do in St. Augustine because there really is so much to do in this little town, even the little downtown area. But on this day, it was just too crowded, so we decided just to make our way back to the hotel. Now, another thing I loved about the Embassy Suites was right next door is the St. John's Fishing Pier. So for $2, you can walk the pier for the entire day. You can come and go as you please. You can go see the sunset. Also gives you access to a little splash park there for kids. There's also a boardwalk over there that I think was damaged during the hurricane, so it was closed. But I just thought it was a nice amenity to have right next door. Now, when we went, it was really foggy, really misty. Actually, it was really cold as well. So you couldn't even see down to the end of the pier. So we didn't walk the whole way, but filmed a little bit just to show you that it was right next door within walking distance. The historic lighthouse is also very close to this hotel, so we stopped there on the way to the airport just to film it a little bit and get some information about that. So again, another thing to do that's really close to now. The last night we were there, we went across the street to the Salty Life for dinner instead of going back downtown because I had heard live music and wanted to try it. And so I was really glad that we did. We had just some typical bar and grill food. They had live music. It was a really great vibe. And again, just literally right across the street. So all we had to do was walk over. Our little impromptu trip to St. Augustine was so much fun, and I'm so glad that we decided to do it. Of course, a little disappointed that it was so congested and so busy, but to be expected when you go during a holiday. So looking forward to going back another time when it's less people, can explore the downtown area a little bit more. And actually, I was mostly impressed with the Embassy Suites stay. I really loved this resort a lot. I could see how it would be a great resort for families. Even though we paid $500 a night, I think that is comparable to a lot of other oceanfront resorts in Florida. We've stayed in Vero Beach and Fort Lauderdale, and actually it was about the same, even a little bit lower. And I would absolutely stay here again if I was in the area versus staying downtown. And a lot of people like to stay in the downtown area, but I like to be on the water. And I'm not really a pool person, so the fact that the pool was small didn't really bother me as much, where you could just go into the beach or you could walk across the street, walk next door. I just loved having that access. Thank you so much for watching, and I do hope you found this video helpful. And help us grow by liking this video and subscribing to our channel. And more importantly, keep following us at 3 Days and Tres Noches, where we keep bringing you that honest, to the point information, tips, and reviews about the travel destinations that we go to. And we have a ton of trips planned this year. We're going to be going to Cancun in a few days, back to Punta Cana. We're going to be going to Jamaica, and we are even possibly going to be going to Europe for 3 days and Tres Noches. So definitely keep following us. You can find us on TikTok and Instagram as well. And you can always email us at 3days3noches@gmail.com if you have any questions. But I do respond to all comments and questions, so just drop them below as well. And I would love to hear if you've been to this resort and what you thought.